Welcome back to Life in Review. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. Well, with all the time you have been spending at home, by now you've either been on the internet yourself or your kids have been, or you've been trying to download a program so that your kids could get to school on time for Zoom classes and all these other things that are going on now. And you probably sat there and wish, gosh, I wish somebody had taught me how to do this stuff on the internet. And the kids are like, don't worry, Mom, I got it figured out. Because somehow they are figuring it out at school. But to help them figure it out, how about everything you need to ace computer science and coding in one big fat notebook? Oh, my gosh. Grant Smith is on the phone this morning. Good morning, Grant.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. And I tell you, this book is awesome. It is so great. I mean, even as a parent, it's so incredibly helpful and useful. So let's get right down to it. What is this book all about? And for those out in the audience that are like, coding, what is she talking about? Sending secret messages to somebody? What is coding?
Yeah, so this book is written as if it were notes from the smartest kid in your computer science class in middle school. And it goes over not just coding, which is giving instructions to a computer and, the programs and how to write them, but also other areas as well, like computing systems, the hardware, the actual computer and monitor and mouse and things like that, data and analysis, impacts of computing and networks and the internet.
Okay, but what is coding? To break it down in layman's terms for mom and dad and maybe the kid that wasn't paying attention in science class.
Yeah, so coding or programming is just writing out instructions that a computer understands and can do something with. So let's break it down to a computer game. That's something that a lot of kids relate to. And what kids will learn about in this book is that a computer game is really just a long series of instructions, of written out instructions given to a computer to make different characters appear on the screen, to take input from your mouse and keyboard or controller, and interpret that into movement by the character and, all of the instructions that are required to make the computer game run. And that's the complicated side of things. But in the book, we break it down to really easy to understand, smaller concepts for the kids to understand.
So when you're talking about reading and writing in a form that the computer will understand, obviously we're not talking about Microsoft Word or Pages. We're talking about something else. So let's talk about the language that we're writing in.
Yeah, so we cover a few different languages in this book. We cover Python, which is a professional programming language. We cover Scratch, which is an educational visual-based language where you actually use little blocks, almost like as if they were Legos on the screen that you snap together, where each block represents what would be a line of code typed out. And then we also go over HTML and CSS, which are, sister languages that are used together to make websites.
What's the best one to learn if you wanted to learn just one? Is there one, or is it kind of better to know a little bit of all of them?
Yeah, I've asked that question and been asked that question many times. And really what we're trying to do at this level is understand the foundational concepts that are translatable to all languages, because underneath the syntax or, the grammar of the languages, all the basic principles are the same. And so kind of like if you learn Spanish, then learning Italian's not that much different. If you learn one programming language, then the next one isn't that different if you understand the basic core concepts. So for example, if you were to make a program about walking your dog, you may have some conditional statements in there. If the dog goes poop, then you should pick it up, right? So that's a conditional statement. And understanding when and how to use those types of programming principles is really the foundation, and then applying them in different languages. You just need to learn the syntax or grammar of those languages.
Now, when we're talking about cybersecurity, is cybersecurity written in much the same way, let's say the website is written, or is there a whole new language for cybersecurity?
Well, for cybersecurity, what we're really talking about is principles in encryption and decrypting information, so making it so that you can't read the information, right, very easily. And we're talking about how information is transferred over the internet and how to make that secure. And a lot of this is at the very basic level, so the kids themselves won't be hacking into any systems through this book, but they will understand why they should be keeping their information private, and they shouldn't be posting things online that don't belong online. And they'll learn about different types of intrusions that can happen, different types of viruses and malware that's out there, and kind of be aware of what is out there so that they are aware of them. I was just going to add, a lot of adults should read that section in particular. I think a lot of adults fall into the trap of downloading the email that they shouldn't and, whatnot. So I think, being aware of what the different types of viruses are is a good thing for everyone, not just kids.
I think when you say virus, people expect it to look a certain way, like it's some kind of sick email where you will know that it's a virus, but they're getting so incredibly smart with these viruses now that, you could get something from your bank that has the logo, has all the verbiage that looks exactly like the last real email that you got from your bank. So what's usually the biggest tell-all?
Yeah, so there are different ways for different types of viruses and whatnot, and different tips in the book about you shouldn't open the websites from the email address or from the email itself, that you should go directly to the website that you know and already trust. Look for the little lock icon and the URL, things like that. But yeah, it kind of goes into a little bit more detail within the book itself.
So when we're talking about data and analysis, the big word that a lot of parents are hearing for the first time now, and kids kind of already know but may not know exactly what it is, algorithms. What is an algorithm, and why are people using it to figure out what I'm buying at the grocery store?
Yeah, an algorithm is just a set of steps to complete a specific task. So, you're writing algorithms all the time in programs, and specifically to data and analysis, what we're doing is we're collecting a ton of data and then writing an algorithm that can make that data usable. And there is definitely that side of, the not evil, but somewhat nefarious side of data collection that we all worry about. But then in business, this is a legitimate career that is very lucrative right now. Data scientists make a lot of money, and it's a big demand career that you take in lots of data that businesses are collecting and turn that into actionable information. Even in just farming, now they have drones that fly around and collect data on the crops, and then you write these algorithms to help understand how the crops are doing and be able to take actions based on that information.
So in plain language, an algorithm kind of watches over things, collects how the things are doing or acting or behaving or saying, and then puts that into some kind of a report that somebody can then look at and understand what's being done or what's being acted on or what the actions are?
That is a type of algorithm, yeah. Collecting information and then giving it in a way that is useful. But there are other types of algorithms. If you are delivering for Amazon, their trucks have shortest pass algorithms that will tell them what's the fastest route to go and make these 50 deliveries today, right? So algorithms are just a set of instructions that can take in information and then give you some good results.
Let's look at Waze. The app Waze that is supposedly done in real time from actual users' input, as opposed to like a map, like a Google map, which is already something that's kind of set and that may work on some information, but Waze is definitely user-driven. Like I can go, onto Waze and say, hey, there's an accident right here, or hey, the traffic's slowing down, constantly inputting from people who are actually on the road. So how does a program then stay so up to date so quick when all of us are inputting stuff so quickly?
That is the magic of being in the information age. And that's why I think all kids should be learning computer science, because there are solutions like Waze that collect all sorts of information, not just the information that you put in, by the way. It's collecting information that you don't put in just based on your phone's location and other habits that you have. And, you need to understand that as well. But we should be teaching these kids how to understand that digital world around them so that they do understand how those algorithms are being used in their lives, regardless if they want to be the ones writing them.
Now, algorithms and programming languages are kind of watching everything that we do now, from cameras on the street to like the grocery store. Now when I go It's a magical that the coupons that I'm looking for the things that I buy magically pop right up. How does that happen?
Yeah. So all of that information is being collected on you every time you go and insert your phone number or use your card. Everything that you buy is recorded, and your habits are recorded for sure. I even saw the other day on the internet someone that made an app that will recognize if you are wearing a mask or not, because right now we should be wearing masks when we're in public. And there's lots of different ways that we can collect information on people. And in the computing systems chapters, we talk about the different input and output devices, cameras and sensors and things like that, and how you can collect the data and information for the computing systems.
When we're talking about computers and systems, like an app where I saw recently that there's going to be an app or somebody's developing it that can immediately let you know if somebody who has the virus is within 5 feet of you, because they're going to test you, then your information, let's say you're positive, then your information goes into some kind of database, and then if you come around people and you have the virus, they're going to be alerted that somebody is within 5 feet of them that has the virus. How can that be possible?
Yeah, I mean, if all that information is being collected and stored, then we are on our phones all the time and have our phones with us, and those are recording our locations. And I mean, not to sound too conspiratorial, but this information is being collected whether we realize it or understand it or not. And, that information can be used for good and definitely can help us to, through this time and help us to make sure that we all stay safe, as long as I think the key here is knowing what's going on and being able to have informed decisions about it, right? There's someone, David Rushkoff, has said, either program or be programmed. If you aren't able to program and understand the algorithms in your lives, then they are using you. So I think it's important for us to understand that digital world around us so that we can. Then also, like your example is a great example. I think having kids learn computer science at a younger age will help give them a stronger foundation so that they will be able to contribute to helpful programs and solutions in the future, knowing that 65% of elementary kids will work in jobs that don't exist yet. And so we need to be preparing them for that digital future.
Did you ever see the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise?
Yes, I love that movie.
Okay. So for those of you that haven't seen it, it kind of predicted whether or not somebody would commit a crime. Do you ever see programming getting to that level, and how could they possibly anticipate a brain?
That would be interesting. I have thought about that actually, because my theory is that if we have enough data collection, then you could write an algorithm that learns enough about a person. But I think we're still many years from that, and that's still science fiction. But that's an interesting idea in computer science. Even right now, on this call, I'm using a software that uses artificial intelligence to learn about the background noise in my home, and it cancels them out so you can only hear my voice. So artificial intelligence is definitely a huge field in computer science right now that's applicable in many different instances, not just in predicting someone's crime patterns, but in practical everyday use as well.
Oh, what program is that? I would love to know about that program.
Yeah, it is NVIDIA's RTX Voice. It's brand new, and it looks like it's doing pretty good.
Oh,
cool. If you can't hear my kids yelling in the background.
No, I can't hear a thing. That's why I was like, what program is that? NVIDIA's RTX Voice?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, with all the Zoom going on, the Zooming and people having to work from home, it might be something that people want to think about.
Definitely.
Okay, Grant, quickly, a website where people can go for more information about you and this incredible everything you need to know to ace computer science and coding in one big fat notebook.
The book is available online on Amazon or other book retail stores. And then when bookstores open back up, they'll be available there as well. And you can definitely connect with me on Twitter at WGrantSmith. I do I'm the VP of Education at Code Ninjas. So you can definitely check out Code Ninjas. We are the largest, fastest growing kids coding after school franchise, and we teach kids how to code. So definitely check out codeninjas.com.
Code Ninjas. That's right. You just did some curriculum for code.org. So codeninjas.com, codeninjas.org.
Yes.
Which
codeninjas.com.
Codeninjas.com. Well, Grant, thank you so much for being with us and for all you do. And parents, I'm telling you, you're going to want to pick up this book because you want to know what the heck is going on with your kids. and even with yourself on your computers. Grant, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Have you ever seen the show Wipeout? Have you ever thought about being a contestant? Well, stick around. I've got the casting director coming up next, and we're going to tell you how you can get on this next season of Wipeout.